Welcome back to Asha Aligned TV. You know what? I have a confession. I don't want the American dream. There, I said it. I don't want the American dream. And I had this realization 3 years ago when I took out the very last student loan I will ever in life take out. And I don't want the American dream. I don't want the house I can't afford, the car I can't afford, the kids I can barely provide for, the work till you die mentality. The American government can keep every last bit of that programming. I want to deprogram myself, and I keep trying to figure out a way around it. I know one way is to get out of debt, which I'm in the process of doing because I still have some student loans left, but there might have to be another level on that. And here's the thing. I have over $50,000 that I could use in credit. Okay. And that's supposed to mean I made it. That's supposed to mean I'm living good. But that is exactly the problem. They want to keep us chained. And they keep us chained through credit card debt and through student loan debt and any other type of debt, mortgages. Okay. So it's just like, if we want to escape this matrix, we have to do things differently, because this whole system is so backwards, and I know y'all feel it. And there are people all over TikTok, Americans all over TikTok, waking up to the same thing, and they're realizing that the American dream is actually to leave America. And that might be the next step that I'm talking about. Not only do you have to get out of debt, you have to get out of debt and you have to get the hell out of here. And that's what we're going to take a look at today, because a lot of Americans even actually achieved that, and they're living successfully outside of the US, even though people love to make it seem impossible, but they're doing it. And here are their stories. I feel like we should definitely take a listen.
Y'all, my husband and I have decided that we just can't do it anymore. We decided to break our lease early and to just leave the country as soon as possible. We're thinking Vietnam initially, then Thailand. Our plan so far is to work every single day until we get over there, to use Delta points to fly there, and to use Hilton points to be able to stay at least for free for the first 3 months. While I'm there, I plan on doing English teaching online to supplement income, but I do plan on having as much money saved as possible. Just need a mental break. At first I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take a year siesta to get my life together and, get my mental health together. But honestly, it's just so stressful being here. We don't know how long we want to stay gone, but we do know that we're going to travel a few countries, and we want to stay gone at least 2 or 3 years now. We are literally going to turn our whole lives upside down in the next 6 months.
I left America 6 months ago, and my life is infinitely better. Let's talk about it. First things first, I've talked about this in other videos, but it cost me around $1,000 to leave the States, which is significantly less money than I ever anticipated. And I think it's a really important thing for everyone to be talking about, that it actually costs a lot less than you might think to leave the US. Since moving abroad, these are the things that have improved in my life. First and foremost, my physical health is infinitely better. Why? The food is better. The air quality is better. I'm happier. I'm less stressed out. Medicine and healthcare is way more affordable. Like, we're talking apples and oranges. People are nicer here because they are happier here. It is significantly easier to cultivate community in a place where people are trusting and loving and empathetic and kind. And I cannot stress this enough. My central nervous system is relaxed and calm for the first time in my life.
Quitting my job and leaving the US was literally the best decision I have ever made. I think the old American dream that they sold us in the 50s, 60s, 70s is dead. The new American dream is peace and rest and financial stability. And a lot of times you can't get that with the house that they tell you got to get the house with the picket fence, white picket fence or whatever. A lot of times you can't get that. Financial stability means renting an apartment, then that's what it means. If peace means taking a break from America, then that's what it is. It's not really just like, oh, the American dream is no longer the American dream. It's the fact that you can barely breathe. Like, you really can't take time off work without worrying about bills. And then when you leave the house, you spend $100 minimum. And I feel like I did everything right. Excuse me, I just left the gym. I feel like I did everything right. Like, I went to school, got multiple degrees, got the house, got the car, the American dream, got married. But I just wasn't happy. I just didn't want to participate in a life in America anymore.
So I moved out of America for the first time in my life 7 months ago, and all my friends from home now would say I've gotten really liberal since moving to Europe. But the truth is, I've just left America for the first time in my life and started seeing fucking reality. And the truth is, we're being lied to our entire life. Amsterdam is where I live now. Everyone thinks it's like the drug capital of the world. There are no crackheads in Amsterdam. 0 crackheads. You got some alcoholics, but no crackheads. You know why? There's no crack. Other thing, prices in the supermarket are like less than half of what I was used to in New York. Now, I don't mean to sound so like negative and like fuck America. I'm very proud to have been born and raised in New York. But my message today is the propaganda machine you were fed is so much louder than you realize, and the world is so much bigger than your hometown and what the media fucking tells you.
One of the top reasons why I got my family out of the United States was for our safety. I don't think I could have ever foreseen the events that are taking place in the United States right now, but what I did know 2 years ago is that I wanted to send my daughter to school safely with the peace of knowing that I would be able to pick her up at the end of the day. I knew that we could have access to affordable and top-of-the-line quality care abroad, and I didn't have to struggle to find a way to pay for our medical expenses. I knew that I wouldn't have to worry about being stopped on the street or invaded by police in the comfort of my own home just because of the color of my skin. I knew that making this move would give us the safety, security, and a sense of peace that we would never find living in constant anxiety and fear in the United States as a mixed race family. People love to say that the grass isn't greener on the other side, but those are the ones who never take a moment to look around them to see that theirs is burning. I'll be honest, living abroad isn't easy and it isn't always sunshine and rainbows, but I don't have to worry about my safety or the safety of my family, and that alone was worth every sacrifice to start a new life in another country.
As someone who just made the move 2 weeks ago, I am here to tell you that that is because you as an American have been fed your entire life propaganda, your entire life. So you can use the rule of thumb that everything that you know about any other country that you've been taught by our government is either a lie or a large stretch of the truth. Now, as a nervous system coach, you feel that way because your nervous system is wired to keep you small and in the familiar. It doesn't matter if it's the better thing for you. It doesn't matter if it's healthier, it's going to make you happier. It does not matter. Your nervous system is wired to keep you in the familiar because predictability equals survival. If you can predict what is happening or what is coming up, then you have a better chance at survival. Now, listen, that's not to say that this move was easy. This was not an easy thing to do. I think that it was easier for me than it was my husband, like actually doing the move, because I came to this conclusion back in 2020. Back in 2020, I told him that this country was going, well, that country was going to shit and that it was dying. I said that to a bunch of different people and I was called crazy. Now, my husband, he had different qualms about it because he's a veteran, okay? He went to Iraq and Afghanistan. So as you can imagine, someone going to literal war zones like a combat veteran would have a harder time swallowing the pill that America is dying, but that's what's fucking happening. I'm not saying it's going to disappear and cease to exist, but it needs to burn down and be rebuilt. This is a cycle that has to play out at this point. Now, we felt every emotion under the sun getting ready to leave. We felt anger, we felt sadness, we were excited, we were nervous, we were hopeful, we were all the things. But a lot of anger and sadness because my number one job as a mother, my number one goal as a mother is to raise a well-rounded, self-sufficient, free-thinking adult that doesn't have to recover from their childhood, okay? And I just did not believe that I could give my daughter a childhood she doesn't have to recover from in Millsap, Texas. I don't know about you, but I want my lineage to grow and to grow and to grow. Like my children, I want them to be smarter than me. My grandchildren, I want them to be smarter than their parents. Like I want it to constantly progress and keep moving. And that wasn't going to happen in Millsap, Texas, with the way that this country is going, that country is going. And so if you want to leave and you have the means to leave, but something is keeping you there, just know that it's likely your nervous system.
All right, listen up. I am an American living in Germany, and I've been here for about 10 years now, so I feel fully qualified to speak on this matter. When I first moved to Europe, I was under the impression of like, I'm only here temporarily. This is like an extended holiday. I'm going to do my thing here for a couple of years. Eventually, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go live back in the States. That's my homeland, land of the free, home of the brave. Like, there's no place better. Now that I've been here for so long, I'm not sure I'm ever leaving. I'm not sure I will ever go back. Growing up, I feel like we were all fed the same lie. Like, there is no place better than the US of A. Like, we are the best country in the world. We are the greatest country in the world. Everyone wants to be us. Everyone wants to come and live here. Like, we are the center of the universe. And let me tell you one thing. That ain't it. The second I moved to Germany, I was humbled real quick. No one is jealous of us. No one wants to be us. No one wants to live in America. If anything, they pity us. And sometimes I feel like they even look at America like it's one big joke of a place. The look on people's faces when we tell them what we had to pay to go to college, it's like they can't even fathom it. They think that we're joking, that we're playing some prank on them. Or it's like, you had to have a life-saving surgery and you had to pay thousands of dollars for it? Huh? Here in Germany, if you want to go to like a public university, for example, you might pay a few $100s, max. And if you need something medically that's like necessary for you to live and be healthy, it's covered by insurance. I've had 2 babies here in Germany, one in the hospital and one at home. And my home birth was also covered by insurance. My husband has also had a few surgeries here in Germany. He tore his MCL, he had to get a knee surgery, he's gotten wisdom teeth out, he had to get veins removed. He's gone under like 4 or 5 times. We've never had a bill. Ever. I feel like the biggest difference between Europe and America that I literally can't even wrap my brain around is the fact that here, basic kind of like human rights, things like medical care, education, etc., public transportation, are seen as a luxury in America that you have to afford, you have to save for. It's so crazy. And it really makes my blood boil when I see people that I know and like love in America and they're like talking about how they can't even afford groceries and they're making their own butter at home because they can't even afford to pay butter. It's just, we are so shell-shocked every time, sticker-shocked actually, every time that we go home. When we were just home over the summer, we had to buy a toothbrush and toothpaste because like my husband forgot it here and like didn't pack it. He went to this CVS, I think, $13 he had to shell over for a tube of toothpaste and a basic stupid toothbrush. Here, I think our tubes of toothpaste are like $1. Like literally, this is not an exaggeration, $1. Just why were we fed this lie growing up that we live in the greatest country in the world when people die because they can't even afford healthcare or they can't even go to the store and pay for butter or they're working 2 jobs just to like live life normally, not even luxuriously. And then there's other places in the world that you don't need to do that. It's just, I don't get it.
United States citizens are leaving the U.S. and going to other countries, whether it's Ghana, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Tokyo. You're starting to see it more and more. This is not a drill. This is happening, and for whatever reason, people are pretty much giving up on the American dream for whatever reason. And what I've personally seen from the videos is everybody's happy. And at the end of the day, that's what you want to be. You want to be happy. You don't want to be somewhere where you're miserable, you're struggling, and it's just killing your vibe. But we really I think this is something we gotta start talking about. People will come to America because America was what they would say the American dream. And I think the American dream is now turned into the American nightmare. And when you look at these other countries, if you're cultured enough, you'll see that, man, the places are beautiful. They have the same thing, if not more. The prices split in half, probably less than split in half. And you get a lot more. But it's just weird. We have these politicians in place right now who are just really turning this shit into a third world country. Like when you have US citizens that decide to say, you know what? Fuck this place. I'm out. And just uproot their entire life and go to another country that they have no clue about. And they're taking the biggest risk. But when you look at them a year, 2 years later, they're extremely happy. You got a serious problem here on the US soil.
I had just made the executive decision that I will be permanently leaving the United States in less than a year and a half. Say what you will, but this is every reason I have of why I want to leave. Let's speed run this shit. Number one, if you're not making at least $150,000 a year or more, or at least have multiple streams of income, congratulations, you will be struggling for a very long time. Rent is incredibly expensive. It is almost impossible to buy a house. People cannot afford to rent an apartment or to live by themselves. Wages have been decreasing. Insurance is a scam. Healthcare and insurance has went up, and millions of American citizens no longer have healthcare. Many of the jobs online that you can apply to are fake. Hundreds of thousands of people are losing their jobs. Inflation keeps increasing, and all the administration has to do is blame Biden for it. Number two, racism is extremely belligerent all across the United States. Not just towards black people, but for other people of color who isn't a white Christian. Black people and other people of color are losing their rights, their equality, and their freedom. Asians, Hispanics, Arabs, Muslims, the list goes on. This country is incredibly hateful, spiteful, and the only thing they do is blame others for their downfall. Since the beginning of 2025, based on records, 7 black men has been found lynched. Still no justice for any of them to this day. White supremacists, Proud Boys, Nazis, they're out there marching, chanting out in public while our government, our president, and our law enforcement does nothing about it. Number 3, we are completely controlled by Israel and billionaires. We fall under an oligarchy. But hey, at least Elon Musk will become a trillionaire, right? Number 4, since the beginning of 2025, there has been 75 school shootings. 53 are dead, while 148 were injured. There has been 84 mass shootings, not including school shootings. The death count is still climbing to this day. Number 5, bombing and going to war with unnecessary countries. Iran, Venezuela, need I say more? Number 6, tariffs. They have done nothing but make the American citizens' lives harder. All it did was make everything more expensive. It was supposed to bring back jobs to the United States, but we're actively losing them. Number 7, our administration and the government has severely defunded the education system. Colleges, high schools, even Ivy Leagues has been severely defunded. So much so that they don't even have enough money to give out scholarships to the kids who rightfully deserve it. Number 8, tax breaks, not for the average American citizen, but for billionaires and anyone else who is making over $250,000 a year. Anyone else who falls under that bracket, congratulations, you're getting taxed more. And number 8, insurance company has the absolute right to decline you of any services if they don't feel like paying it to you. If you get cancer, break an arm, maybe get sick or something else happens, maybe a car accident, they can look at that shit and go, nah. Or better yet, they could just flat out cancel your insurance claim or your account. Number 9, maternity leave fucking sucks in the United States. The most you'll ever get, especially after you gave birth, is maybe 2 months. Most likely less. Remember, you're a slave to the corporation. You don't actually have freedom. Pay time off, sick leave, just about. You get hardly any of that. When you have accumulated at least 2 weeks of vacation time in the last 3 years alone, they will do everything they can to keep you from not taking it. What can I say? That's American corporations, right, America? Number 10, there are American celebrities and billionaires, including multiple people who hold a chair in the government affiliation and power, are human traffickers. Number 11, America doesn't have universal health care. That's a big one. So if you get sick, have cancer, break a leg, maybe get shot, guess what? It costs you an arm and a leg to get better. I still have like 10 more, but I'm not going to do that. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. America's the greatest country in the world.
I don't know if you heard, but everybody's escaping America. Here are the top 5 countries that American expats are ending up in. If you didn't know, now you know. Mexico is one of the places people have chosen to settle down. With Mexico's low cost of living and beautiful weather, people have chosen this as their new home. Mexico ranks very high because it is a country that's easy to settle in. It's very close to the United States, just in case American expats do want to head back. The cost of living is low, and people seem to have a very fulfilling lifestyle there. And it also could be the trips to Cancun. Next on the list, Portugal. Portugal is a place that leaves people feeling very welcome, and they love the overall quality of life. And the cost of living is something that probably sells them every time. And while we're still on the topic of Europe, let's talk about Spain. España. As a person who lived in Madrid, I can definitely agree. Spain has a long list of things that attracts you. The nightlife, work-life balance, the climate, and the culture. And one of the best feelings is that people say that they feel at home in Spain. Moving on, Indonesia. We've all heard of Bali. Bali is a place that a lot of expats go to due to the very low cost of living. If you do stay in Bali, Indonesia, and you're living off of an American income, you'll probably have one of the best lives here, as your money will go a very long way. As well as that, the weather is to die for. And the culture and the animals and all the things that you'll see every day is something that you'll never get tired of waking up to. And last on the list, Pura Vida, Costa Rica. I was surprised at this, but people love Costa Rica due to the low cost of living and the beautiful weather. As well as that, they have a very rich culture and history that you have to see. Americans are picking up selling their cars, their houses, they're selling everything.
I live and work in Spain, making roughly 1,000 euros a month, which in America is nothing, but in Spain is more than enough to live. I only work 16 hours a week, and I'm able to afford a super nice apartment in the city center of Madrid. Food costs me 20 euros a week. My electric bill is like 30 euros a month. I don't have to worry about gas or a car payment or insurance because the public transportation system is so world class that you don't even need a car at all. Madrid is like the New York of Spain, except if you were living in the city center of New York, you'd have to be making literally at least $5,000 a month, and that's extremely lowballing it. Just their way of life in general, like, is so much more relaxed and just taking time to enjoy life rather than just working constantly. They literally have a siesta in the middle of the day where they take 3 hours to go nap or go to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. Like, the American mind cannot fathom. It's just crazy to me because, like, you've been told growing up your whole life that America is the best country in the world. That's just so far from the truth. And it's, like, very obvious how much worse it is now that I've gotten out.
Do anybody want to be friends and just move out the country? Because I can't keep doing it. I can't keep acting like, living in delusion, trying to make life comfortable. I know I got to get the hell up out of here. Like, I just see it getting worse and worse. And it's just like, everybody like, it's going to calm down. God got us. God got the last say. And I love God. But God also gave me discernment to know when I got to get the hell up out of place. And I just been feeling like that the past couple months about America. I got to get the hell up out of here. Like, everybody around me just be acting so oblivious. They don't know like what's going on. They're just like, oh well, it's life, we just gotta go through this. We just know we don't, bro. So it's just like I can't just up and move because I can't stop paying bills here. So it's just like, how the hell can I leave America with $300 to my name and hope and aspiration? All I got is a dream.
I escaped the USA 1 year ago, and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. Because history will record this era, just like the books show Jews escaping Germany. I left because I felt like the country I was supposed to love had drastically changed, and it started changing during Trump's first term. And having to live in a country with as a ruler and paying taxes into the system just felt like I was being screwed over. And I already knew ahead of time that they would clamp down on queer and trans rights and bodily autonomy, and they were going to start normalizing their extremist beliefs. And I knew that they were going to get into wars. So I saved up as much money as I could. I sold the majority of my things, and I moved to Tokyo. So 1 year ago, I was living in Tokyo. I lived there for the maximum amount of time that a U.S. citizen can without a visa, which is 90 days. I then moved to Bangkok and lived there for 30 days. Though the heat and the humidity really got to me. So, plus, it was not as inexpensive as people say on these apps. My 1 month rent was $1,100, plus food and all that. I then moved to Istanbul, which I didn't mind, but I was tired of hopping around, so I ended up moving to Albania, where US citizens are allowed to live for 12 months without a visa. I have posted a lot of videos on the visa processes and ways to help U.S. citizens escape. And though I have paused that, I am willing to help people learn how to live abroad because it is not easy. There are a lot of complicated things to know.
Here are 5 easy steps if you want to move the fuck out of the United States and move abroad to another country. Coming from an American myself who's lived in multiple countries over the last 10 years. Now first up is picking a country that actually allows you to live there. Now you need to do a little research in terms of the visas, how long you're allowed to stay, what the renewal process is like, and overall just how convenient it is for you. Now the second thing you're going to have to do is secure your income. Now you can do this in one of 3 ways. Now number 1 is pretty much what everybody and their mama is hoping for, which is a remote job. Of course it would be lovely to work on USD income and then travel anywhere around the world world, but realistically, that's very difficult for a lot of different people. Number 2 is going to be finding a job in your field or in a different field in said location that you're going to be traveling to. For example, if you want to move to Japan, you can get a job teaching English, and that'll give you access to a visa and income, but in reality, you won't get enough money to live the kind of lifestyle that most people envision whenever they plan on moving to Japan. And the third option is if you're rich as fuck and you just got money to blow, you can pretty much just move and live on savings. Number 3 is pretty basic, and is get your documents and finances in order. So once you know where you're going to go and how you're going to pay for it, this is the time where you need to get everything together. Your visa applications, how you're going to be able to get a phone number, emergency documentation, copies of your passport, all that good shit. Now, step 4 is my most highly rated tip, and that is doing a trial run. And no, I do not mean going to a country for a couple weeks and then going back home and thinking, oh, I want to live there. You need to spend at least 30 to 90 days in said country before you really should pull the trigger on actually moving out there. Living somewhere for 2 to 3 months gives you a lot more perspective on what it's like actually living there versus what it's like being just a tourist on vacation. And the 5th and final step is literally just fucking move. I know people who 4 or 5 years ago talked about how they wanted to move abroad, and since then they've just been planning and putting it off, and they never end up leaving. So if you genuinely have plans to move and live abroad, just go ahead and fucking do it. With every country that I've ever moved to, I didn't think I was actually ready, but once I actually moved there, I was a lot more comfortable than what I ever thought I would be, and I can honestly tell you right now, my life would be full of regret had I not taken that leap of faith.
Fortunately and unfortunately, after moving abroad to Europe, as an American, I've realized that we've been scammed. The word for 2026 is options, y'all. I'm about to tell you all these things that I wish I would have known like 10 years ago. Number 1, did you know that Europe accepts foreigners to buy property and they will actually give you a mortgage? So as long as you've got 30% down, you could literally be buying a property in Spain, Portugal, Italy, or France for $150,000. And their mortgage rates are 2.5 to 3%. The second thing I didn't know was that there's no credit scores. So they really don't pigeonhole their people and keep them in crazy debt for pretty much their whole lives. The third thing I didn't know was that you can actually study across Europe for dirt cheap. Like, we're talking 100 euros in Germany to go get a medical degree. My friend Erica is actually doing that right now, and we collabed even on a Business Insider article because I show Americans how to move abroad, and we have a free guide for that. Oh, and there's no age cap for student visas. And I'm a move abroad coach, so I'm in charge of keeping track of all the different countries that Americans can move to. And my pick for 2026 is actually Portugal because it is the cheapest place to move to. The minimum wage in 2026 in Portugal is 920 euros. So if y'all got 920 euros and you're making a month through passive income, you can move to Portugal. The other thing most people don't know is it's super easy to move abroad to Europe. I did it in 2015 and then again in 2016, and I'm helping thousands of Americans do it. All you're gonna need is a passport that's valid for a year. You're gonna need to get an FBI background check with a couple stamps on it, and you're gonna have to go to the consulate appointment to get you a visa.
Here's the cheapest way to get out of the United States. You're going to get a level 5 TEFL certification. It should take you about 2 weekends to finish. It's going to cost you about $300. You're going to apply on Preply, Native Camp, Cambly, Engu. There are hundreds of different English teaching websites where you can teach English to foreigners, no problem, without a college degree even. You're going to move to an affordable country. You have 3 options: Uruguay, Albania, Cambodia. Albania is probably the most expensive. Uruguay is middle expensive. Cambodia is going to be cheaper of the 3. I say these 3 countries because all 3 have the easiest visas for Americans for long-term living outside of the United States.
Ever since the little orange man decided to take away national parks, that's my last straw. So here's exactly how you're gonna move the fuck out of America. Number 1, visualization. Before you roll your eyes, I need you to understand how brainwashed Americans are into believing that America's the best country in the world and our government cares about us. I don't think anyone believes that at this point, but get that out of your head if you do. I need you to start visualizing a life that you actually enjoy living and believe that you can have it. Number 2, affirmations. Affirm to yourself that you can actually fucking do this. Despite how impossible it seems right now, and especially with the state of the world, you can still do it, I promise.
Y'all want to know what pisses me off about coming back from the US after living abroad for like 2 years?
Because it might not be the thing that you think, but then again, it might also be the thing that you think. So if you didn't know, I lived abroad in Korea for like 2 years as an English teacher, doing my best little life. Being abroad, like I investigated everything. I used all the public transportation. And the fact that like when you come back to the US, especially if you like land at LAX, right? Especially when you come from like an Asian airport, it feels like such a downgrade. You're just like, where is the public transportation that can take me from LA to my hometown? Where are the trains running every 5 minutes? That way I can go to like wherever I want in Los Angeles. Add to the fact that like us Americans have to pay for healthcare out of pocket, and if you don't have healthcare, that's technically illegal apparently. And it's not a government right. They're just like, you don't have healthcare, that sounds like a personal problem, get that shit fixed. Like that's what I hate so much about like being back in the States. Like the fact that all the social safety nets that you might have gotten in another country are completely gone here. That's why the wages are so much higher, but everything's much more expensive. And they're just like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you can do it. Like, Miss Lady, I just want to live in a place where we have affordable public transportation, education, and healthcare. Is that so bad to ask as my human right?
As an American, there are some things that you can truly never fully understand until you leave the United States. I moved out of the United States 2.5 years ago, and since then, there have been moments where certain things happen that completely and utterly break everything that I've ever known. And today, one of those things happened. I'm currently living in Germany, and very recently, I just got a part-time barista job. As I'm in talks with the boss trying to get this job, I'm expecting like, okay, we'll do like an interview or something and they can see if they like me or not. And the boss emails me about like, they don't do like an interview, they do like a tryout day, and they're telling me like, come in for the tryout day and see if you like it and if you fit in with the environment well. And when I went in for the tryout day and like all went really well and stuff, the boss asked me at the end, so like if you feel good about this job, like if you like it, if it suits you well and you think you might want to stay here, then just like write me an email and let me know by like Tuesday or whatever. And now through the German public healthcare system, I can pay into it and then see pretty much any doctor that I want to, as long as they have an available appointment for free or pretty much free. I'm used to public healthcare not even really existing. I'm used to literally everyone I love around me being like constantly in this state of like nervous system dysregulation because they're constantly in fear that if they have 2-3 bad months, then they're literally on the street.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even want to get rich to even be rich and live luxurious. I literally want to get rich so I can get the fuck out this country. I cannot stand it here anymore. Everything about this country makes me make my fucking stomach bubble the fuck up, especially the fucking economy. I'm sick of it for everybody, but I'm really sick of it for myself too, because like I'm just sick of everything just not being a fucking affordable. I'm sick of this fucking rat race shit. Like I don't even give a fuck about the American dream. Fuck American dream. I don't want no fucking, like I would like it, yeah, but honestly it don't even sound that appealing when you think about it, because it's like, damn, you could buy a big ass house and it's like it's still not even yours. The fucking whoever the fuck can take it back if you don't pay your property taxes, and you still got to do this and do, like, it's just like, is anything ever fucking really what it is? Like, do we just keep fucking working for shit and it's just, you just never get there? Like, I'm confused. Like, even when you talk to people that's fucking doctors and lawyers and shit, they're fucking stressed out and fucking financially not in a good fucking place either, and it makes no sense to me. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, honestly, all this shit is a fucking lie, and that's the reason I really want to move the fuck out of this country. I want to live abroad because I'm tired of idealizing my life based off American standards. I want to go to another country where they're not worried about who got the flyest shoes, who got the nicest car, who got the biggest house, and I don't give a fuck about none of that.
Even if I was making $1 million a month, I still want to live in America. That's how bad it is, and that's how I finally figured out that I really woke up. It's not about the money anymore. It's about the quality of life. Because 9 times out of 10, the more money you make in America, the more you're going to spend, the more they're going to take from you. So I'm thinking about it. I'm living in Asia. I'm going to Africa. I'm going to Japan. I'm going to all over. And I'm like, bro, if I have a company and I'm seeing 7 figures a month, why do I need to be in America? Why not go to a tax-free country? Right? Go to a tax-free country, move to a country that's not based off interest, and live life. Nah, I gotta get out of this hamster wheel, bro. This America is a real hamster wheel.
Does anybody else want to leave America like really, really soon? Because I just feel like it's not going to get better. You know, just this whole system that we're supposed to follow, it's not for me. It's not meant for me, and I just can't really do it. Like in America, it's just work, 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 grind, grind, grind. You know, people are working fucking 80-hour weeks. People have to get side hustles, you know, working more than 12 hours a day. Like, this shit is crazy. And then Gen Z, we can't buy a home. You know, people can barely afford groceries. People are having to have fucking roommates, you know, sacrificing your mental health and your privacy. And it's like, for what? Like, people are still working their asses off, and it's not getting them nowhere. Like, it has to be somewhere else that is better, that actually works. Like, our nervous systems in the US are like basically fried. Like stress, you know, autoimmune diseases, like the food. It's like this shit is just normal here, and I can't get with it. Like, this just can't be it for me.
My husband and I finally made the difficult decision to leave the United States. It was not an easy decision, and it came from a lot of conversations. But we finally realized we're fighting to stay somewhere that not only is he unwanted, but we're fighting to stay in a place that's just falling apart more and more each day and becoming an unrecognizable place.
Americans are leaving the USA because they can't afford America anymore, making $100,000 a year, yet they feel suffocated financially because the price of things keep going up. They keep printing money and the wages ain't going up, all right? Matter of fact, there's job loss and there's cuts and all kinds of stuff going on. So once people leave that kind of environment and they go somewhere else and they realize life is supposed to be lived, it's supposed to be simple, it's supposed to be much more about enjoying your health and your family and your loved ones and your purpose and all of these things, rather than spending most of your life at work. What kind of a freaking life is it if you don't do what you love? If you do what you love, cool, man, knock yourself out. I do what I love. Most people, 80-something%, don't do what they love. They don't like their job, and if they didn't have to work their job, they wouldn't work their job. So I know if you've watched this far, it's speaking to you. Maybe this is the sign you need to start doing some research to learn how to begin to devise your escape plan and live a better life. Because you know what? If what you're doing is not working, continuing to do the same thing, they call that insanity. You might want to book that flight. See you soon.
The amount of people just leaving the United States is absolutely insane. I could sit here and read you all the numbers about how 4 in 10 U.S. adults are planning to relocate, how more people than ever are emigrating from the United States, and how for the first time in over 50 years, there's going to be a net outflow of immigrants rather than an inflow. It is just astounding. But the amount of immigration lawyers and relocation experts and foreign governments who are just swamped with Americans because there are so many people moving that I don't even think the true number is really documented. And it is just going to show that there is a movement happening, and it's out of the United States. And whether that's political, economical, or something else, like just looking for a better quality of life, a better pace of life, better work-life balance, there is something happening. And I think a lot of people realize the sinking ship that we are on, and they are getting off. I'm not trying to cause a panic or anything like that, but I think people realize the way things are going here, how it's not improving, how it's not going to get better anytime soon. And they are taking the nuclear option of taking their American dream somewhere else. Because the American dream now is to leave. Just look at the number of Americans who live in Mexico, Spain, Portugal, France, etc. It is growing and growing and growing. And I think this is going to have ramifications from foreign governments locking down immigration in the future. Anti-American sentiment is on the rise, unfortunately. And who knows, maybe the government here increasing taxes on expats. I know they were supposed to get rid of the taxes on expats, and instead of doing that, they actually increased the fee of money leaving the United States. So, our government doesn't really like us leaving the country anyway, because it really is the biggest form of protest. You're taking your dollars and you are moving to another place and saying, I am removing myself from this American system. I myself am moving, and I am moving to Portugal next year. I couldn't be more excited. Because even though things are bad here, economically, politically, whatever, I think most of us aren't running away from something as much as we are running towards something. And that something is a better life.
I moved out of the US 5 months ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I was living in New York City, and then I accepted a job in Beijing and moved in February. It's been absolutely life-changing, absolutely life-changing. Since I left, I had like American blindfolds on, and now being out of America, they're completely removed. I've realized so much being out of the States that the way that Americans live is not normal. The way that politicians are enacting laws and speaking to people and detaining people and shooting people, like, that's not normal. People don't live like that. And I think people of my generation and the generation below me have gotten so used to absorbing news like that of mass shootings and crime and hate crimes and these crazy laws that are stripping away their rights, that we're just kind of like, oh, that's just how it is. Like, this is normal. It's not. It's not. I walk around outside alone at night, and I've never once feared for my life here. I've never once experienced hate crime. I've never once witnessed hate crime. I've never once witnessed racism here in China. Some countries are worse than others, and I do know that there's a lot of countries that they have their issues, and there are racist people around the world and hate crime around the world. I do understand. But the way that America is set up, it's kind of like we're conditioned to just learn that this is just the normal way of life, and they're almost enabling it through the laws that they're passing and the rights that they're taking away. Needless to say, I've never been more stress-free living out of the States, saving so much money here. I'm traveling so much more. I'm meeting so many more people. I have the best community around me. I have the best job. I'm able to go to work and then go out for dinner and travel to another country that weekend and come back and work again. Like, I've never been able to experience as much life as I am in these past 6 months than the first 25 years of my life. I can't express, like, you don't realize it until you leave. You do not realize how much you've missed out and how much you've been just tolerating until you leave.
The best thing I ever did for my health, my mind, and my soul, and the benefit of my family was get the f out of the United States, man. That place is a work in progress, if you haven't noticed. If you got children and you love them, and you got health problems, you want to get healthier, you're depressed, or you feel bad, or like something's missing in your life, get out of the United States, man. I want to say like 50% of your problems will get better, and you don't even know it. People complaining about the food pyramid and carbs and breads, psh, I eat pasta and bread every day, all day, man, and I feel great. I lost like most of the excess fat of my body. I got in better shape. My kids are happier, dude. My kids are living beautiful, wonderful lives that I envy. Things are only gonna get worse in the United States, man. And if we go to war or something, dude, pff, your boy is getting drafted, man. The women and children and the rest, pff, you want your life to improve? Leave the US, dude. Come here to Spain, come to Italy, come to France.
Here are countries you can move to fast if America falls apart tomorrow. If you need speed over perfection, these are the best bets. Mexico. You can walk across the border. You'll have 180 days visa-free. It's low cost, easy rentals, and flights out if you need to pivot to somewhere else. Portugal. They love digital nomads. Visa turnaround can be weeks or not years. It can take weeks, but it's safe, affordable, and English friendly. Ecuador. They have open doors, cheap cost of living, and residency visas are straightforward to get. Panama, they have their friendly nation visa. It makes it easy for Americans with solid banking and stability. Ireland, if you have ancestry, you can fast track citizenship. No hoops. All you need to do is provide the proof. This isn't about paradise. It's about safety, speed, and you setting up your plan B.
If you're an American waking up today thinking, holy shit, is this my moment? Is this the moment that is literally going to make me leave this country? Listen up. We left 2.5 years ago. We live in Portugal. It was the best decision we ever made. In fact, it was moments like this that we knew would probably come that made us want to leave. I have joined a company called She Thrives Abroad, and we are coaches that help people move abroad. I happen to be the coach for Portugal because I sit in Portugal. But we help anyone move anywhere in the world that has a legal visa path. We just happen to focus on Portugal, Spain, and the Netherlands.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America. And let's talk about it, because a lot of people say it's exaggeration that you can escape, but let me tell you why it's really not. First, let's talk about credit cards, because that is one of the biggest traps in America. And it's honestly so sad to see like 90% of Americans are in debt, and like they obviously cannot pick up and go to another country. I'm 18 years old and I literally have a credit limit of $25,000, which is honestly so crazy. And I don't mean crazy is a good thing. That is horrible. But that's literally what the US government wants, is Americans to be in debt so they have like control over them. I have a few more things to talk about, but next is inflation and the prices of stuff. Literally 70 to 80% of average Americans just working like jobs, even making $100,000 a year, are going into debt each week. Just because so much prices are going up in America, rent is going up, literally bread, food, anything is going up except people's wages. Yes, it's like that in other countries, but 90% of other countries is not like that. Okay, next topic is college and getting a degree in America. Right now, more Americans than ever before are literally just getting an online job and traveling with their families. I know people who are traveling with their families to Mexico, Thailand, Vietnam, all the Asian countries for less than $2,000 a month. Back to my next point, getting a degree in America literally puts straps on you to stay there for the rest of your life. And you might say, oh my gosh, that's the American dream. Yeah, that used to be the American dream, is to go to college, get a job, buy a house, but now that's like not even possible for my generation. So it's basically like you're stuck in America if you literally go to college and get into debt like they want you to. My advice to people my age, open up a credit card, but pay it on time or pay it early. Because credit is definitely good to have when you're buying a house. Obviously you need it, but that is like my advice to people my age, and literally do not go to college. There's so many jobs on social media now that you do not need a degree for. And the amount of money that people pay for college and get into debt for is also a strap on their hand. Like, that's not even exaggeration. If you don't have parents to pay for your college, which 90% of Americans don't, you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life paying college off. It was so sad because in high school, my teachers, they would like tell us how much debt they have. And mind you, they've been a teacher for over 20 years and are still paying off college. Like, it makes no sense to me. I would rather be in debt on a house, bringing in profit, than in debt on college, paying for that. Like, and it's what the government or school doesn't want to teach you.
Leaving my home country was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I'm talking mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Putting yourselves in different cultures is just so eye-opening. Like, when you see how people are living in other parts of the world, it forces you to realize what we take for granted back home and what we put too much value on back home. Like in the US, all we think about is money and other toxic things like status and clout. Making money is very important in today's world, but it's just a piece of the pie. Life is truly just a balance of health, relationships, finances, and enjoyment or entertainment. And I felt like in the US, I was forced to basically abandon my health, relationships, enjoyment, just to get in a good financial position. And living abroad truly helped me fix my life balancing issues, giving me more time for what truly matters.
You know, the longer my family and I are in Canada, the more I see that we believed that American lie. We believe that American lie that, you know, oh, America's the best country on the planet, you know, and we've been chasing that American dream. And, you know, with everything that's happening in the USA, my family was like, you know what, we need a break. And I'll tell you, we are finally just exhaling here in Calgary, Alberta.
There is a huge misconception that you need money in order to leave the United States. Let me be the first to tell you that life is cheaper abroad. I'm currently in a luxury high-rise apartment in the middle of Ecuador for less than $40 a night. I sold my house in Houston, Texas to live indefinitely in Bali, Indonesia. And for a beautiful room just like this, right next to the beach, with breakfast and daily room service, it costs less than $40 a night. I was recently hospitalized while in Ecuador and my bill came out to less than $500. Healthcare is cheaper, rent is cheaper, food is cheaper and better. And I call what I live a luxury lifestyle, meaning that you can find rooms cheaper than what I'm paying currently. I've met backpackers that have a budget of $500 a month and survive off of that. And depending on which country you want to go to, overall, I would say that you need less than $500 to be able to survive. The greatest thing that I did for my physical and mental health was leave the United States. Don't let fear or your ignorance about how much life costs abroad prevent you from leaving the United States.
You are not crazy for wanting a different life. It is not fair to just be afraid to go to the hospital because of a bill that you might receive. It is not fair to work so hard but then just still be behind. In several places around the world, even people who don't have money can still have a place to live, still have access to affordable health care. But in America, we have this idea that we have to have lots of money to have basic necessities, basic needs. That's a load of baloney. So you are not crazy for wanting different.
I'm cutting my expenses by almost 50% by moving abroad. I'm officially moving to Colombia.
That was almost a year ago. I have officially been living in Colombia for a year, guys. And like, wow, I can't believe I made it. Actually, I can. You know what? I can. I'm not here to give any big fucking speech, but if you've been thinking about it, just do it. It changed my life. I think it will change yours. My quality of life has increased. My mental health has increased. My freaking physical health has increased because of all the fucking fresh fruits and like the food that doesn't have all of these chemicals and additives and everything. But just overall, like, moving abroad, I think has probably been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be here.
What words of encouragement do you have for America's youth?
Leave.
Oh, please.
Leave. America is one big homeowners association. You can't even go to Canada because that's about to be America too. So you got to find somewhere else to go for a little while and give it a generation.
Thanks for those words.
I don't say that to be pessimistic. I say it to hopefully activate people into seeing what's going on.
You literally told the nation's youth that they should leave and flee the country.
They should. They should.
Everyone told me that I was going to regret moving abroad and leaving the US, and oh my God, were they right? I completely regret not moving earlier. If I did anything right, it was the fact that we moved out. Like, our quality of life is insanely better. We're so much more happier. Amaya's in daycare. Like, people are super nice. And we've been living in Portugal for the last 3 months, and now we're going to Colombia. And I'm looking at, getting everything situated over there. Guys, I'm going to have a full-time nanny for like $500 a month. When I called the Montessori schools and they told me it was $250 a month, I like had to double take. I'm like, $200, $250 a week? No, they're like, no, it's a month. And they even pick her up to and from school, which is just absolutely crazy. And meanwhile, in America, in order to have a full-time nanny, it's like $4,000.
American dream is to leave. If you don't know me, my name is Michelle. 7 months ago, my boyfriend and I decided to leave the US for good, pack up all our shit, and move to Spain. Here's why. When I lived in America, I had a chef, nutritionist, and would only buy organic foods. I worked out 7 days a week, and somehow I gained a shit ton of weight, developed thyroid issues, and a leaky gut. The fuck? I moved to Spain. I eat out almost every day, and somehow I've lost over 15 pounds since I've been here. That's because most of the chemicals that they use in America are not allowed here in Europe. Number 2 is a lifestyle. When we lived in America, we had the big house, we had the yard, we had the cars. All we wanted to do was stay home. Only time that we truly went out to enjoy life was on the weekends. In Spain, every day is like the weekend. You'll see friends and family out having dinner and drinks, and it's like 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Another huge perk for us is that we are 5 hours ahead of Eastern time. We can truly enjoy our mornings, meditate, go out to brunch, and we won't hear from anybody until hours later. And because we learned the skills to set up the proper systems for our online businesses, we now only work 2 hours a day, exactly how I'm able to enjoy this beautiful scenery on a Friday afternoon while my businesses in the background are producing income for me. When I moved here, I didn't have to worry about looking for a job. I moved out here to truly enjoy the beautiful lifestyle.
As an American living in Germany, these are my 3 favorite aspects of German life. 1, healthcare, baby. I can be sick, I can lose my job, whatever, I am covered. I go to the doctor, everything is good. Moreover, every time I go to the doctor to visit, when I leave, I don't have to pay anything. Number 2, unlimited sick leave, essentially. So yeah, unlike in the US, when you're sick, you have to take time off for like your sick leave and you have a limited amount, and then you go into your vacation days in Germany, probably in Europe as well. I don't have to do any of that. I have an unlimited amount, so to say, and then at some point, after I think 6 months, then the insurance will kind of kick in there. And number 3, and probably one of the more beautiful things, is the fact that I have, by law, 24 days of paid vacation. That's right, 24 days of paid vacation. So I can do whatever I want. I can go somewhere, I can stay home, chill out, whatever. And what's also cool is if I'm sick during that vacation time, I can actually get that nullified so I can actually then retake my vacation.
So I'm an American living in Trinidad, been here for 2 years, and these are a couple of things that shocked me. 1, the food is the best I've had in all of the countries I visited. Trinidad has the best food. I don't care, there's the best. So if you wanted to be a vegan or a vegetarian, Trinidad is a place where you're gonna have amazing tasting vegan food, and your friends who like love meat is also gonna love the food here because I'm a carnivore, okay? I love my meats. And in America, you couldn't pay me to eat some of these vegan foods out there because it's just lacking flavor. I took my friends down to Trinidad and they had doubles for the first time. When I tell you, we had to get up 6, 7 in the morning every morning that they were here on their trip because they were gonna get those doubles, okay? Doubles, not even doubles, they were getting triples, okay? They were getting triples. Another cool thing that really surprised me is that people have pet parrots. I've seen the most exotic, beautiful birds in Trinidad, and a lot of people that I know have pet parrots. And when I go in people's houses, like the parrots are talking, y'all. They are saying words. And I'm just like, is that like your kid brother? I couldn't get a good view. It's like, is that your kid brother talking? No, it's their parrot. And I just think that's so, I'm sorry. Another thing that shocked me about living here is anytime you go into a government building, your shoulders and your body pretty much has to be covered. You cannot wear flip-flops. You cannot have a skirt or a dress like above your knees. Very conservative culture. You can't have your shoulders. Like I couldn't go in with a shirt like this because my shoulders are sticking out. That was a culture shock because what do you mean I can't go into a bank or to an office or anything like that without covering my shoulders? Oh my gosh, I was shocked. Last thing, this was a big one. They prioritize relaxation here. And that's what I imagine. Like when I think of I'm going to an island, I'm going to an island to relax. That's one of the motivations for living in Trinidad is I love the relaxed culture because America is very workaholic culture, busy culture. We're always working. I'm still always working, even though I'm down here. They don't push the idea of you have to work too much. They really embrace the take care of yourself, relax, take a lime. That's what they call it. They have a word for it. It's called liming or to lime. And that's just to relax, to hang out, to enjoy your peace and comfort and community. And I love that. This is going to be controversial, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but a lot of Americans can leave. They just choose not to. Let me explain before you guys come at me in the comments. In October 2023, I was deported, homeless, and broke. I work like a donkey. I have 5+ streams of income. Airbnb, co-hosting, mentorship, TikTok, astrology, tarot, modeling, you name it, I'm hustling. I was forced back to the US because I was deported and had nothing to my name because I sold it all. Fast forward to 2026 and I have left the US and live in Southeast Asia. If you have a smartphone, if you have Wi-Fi, you literally can make money in your sleep. You can make so much passive income. What do you do in your free time? We both have the same 24 hours. What do you do with yours?
It was a really hard thing for myself and our family to admit that the United States was not capable of providing what we needed anymore. And honestly, it's the reason most people, quite frankly, in their lives will probably never change and never move and never move out of the US or change their lifestyle circumstances significantly because, well, it's just the way it is, or it's just the way everybody else lives too, so it's just the way it is here, or, you know, or just like, honestly, like a subconscious unwillingness to wake up from the matrix, to wake up and say, this isn't working for me, for people that it's not working for, which isn't everybody. But if it isn't working for you, then denying it doesn't help you. And specifically, the things that tend to affect people over time, I tend to feel like it's people over 30, and it's people who are concerned with things like for their children, the cost of health care, the cost of living, which, I mean, is everybody these days. But these things, they can become really difficult. I mean, they can change your life to become very stressful. They can make it so that you're not really having fun anymore. And that's what happened to me, where I'm just like, I just say to my wife, I'm not having fun anymore. Like, this grind is not fun. I just feel like I'm treading water now. I'm working my ass off and I'm just treading water. I'm not getting ahead, or I'm not getting ahead at the level I want to in order to be where I want to be in retirement. And that's not fun. So I say this all the time in these videos. If life is working for you, if you're happy where you are in the United States, good, God bless you, that's awesome. This is not a bashing on US thing, because I love the US and has lots of, you know, amazing traits. It's a great country, but there's some things in our country, namely poison food, the politics, healthcare costs, other things that don't work for some people. And if you're just kind of like saying, I don't want to wait around to see if this is going to get fixed with the precious time I have left, and I'd rather just go choose a better life now, there are so many options for you. I happen to have chosen the south of France, which isn't for everybody, but there's so many places, whether it's Thailand or Panama or Indonesia or Portugal or Spain or Italy, goes on and on. There's so many places, Greece, there's so many places where you can live cheaply, affordably. You can have a quality lifestyle with a family and children and community-centric environment, living, high quality food, low-cost healthcare.
All right, I'm just gonna say it. The reason why I moved abroad from Los Angeles to Barcelona, Spain, and why thousands of other Americans are doing it, social life. Yes, I just said social life. The social life sucks in the US. And I think most Americans will get where I'm coming from, because the US is a separated society. This society in the US is meant to separate you so that you are individual. Look, we have our houses so spread out, yet we're by ourselves all the time. What's the point of having a freaking big house if it's going to be empty all the time? This is what I don't get about the US society. This is not okay. That's why people are drowning in depression, because in the US, hanging out at the last minute and spontaneous get-togethers are not a norm. You have to book your friends out 2 or 3 weeks in advance to even do something. In Europe, on the contrary, it is not like that. People are literally out on the street, walking around every single day. You can meet up with whoever you want. You can always text your friends and be like, hey, let's go grab a tea. Let's drop in, let's connect. And you don't ever feel lonely. So this extreme loneliness is honestly killing us in the US. And if you've not experienced this, like, good on you, but I'm sure most of us know what I'm freaking talking about. And as somebody that's lived in 4 different countries, Spain, France, India, I can tell you that this is the US's worst problem. We haven't even talked about freaking healthcare, drowning in debt, crippling anxiety because of that debt, and people having to go on all sorts of medications because the food system is horrible in the US. I mean, we haven't even talked about that. I'm saying that as a human being, not a human doing, we need other people. We need community. And the US is, I'm sorry, not built for that.
6 reasons why, as an American, I prefer to live and work in the UK. Let's go! Number 1, free public healthcare. The NHS is truly amazing. 2, annual leave. The government legally gives every employee 20 paid days off a year, plus 8 bank holidays, where the US government gives 0. 3, in the UK, you are entitled to 1 year's maternity leave, and in the US, it's 0. The rights of LGBTQ+ employees in the UK have been protected in the workplace since 2010 under the Equality Act, whereas in the US, in June 2020, that just passed and became legal, so that means, just for being gay, you could have been fired with no other explanation. 5, the Queen, who is also our neighbour, we live in Windsor. 6, lastly, guns. No gun culture.
But if you're not happy in the US, if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now.
Y'all, we did it. We packed up all of our things. We sold our businesses and we spent the last couple of weeks spending time with our friends and family. And we moved to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that we've already been approved for temporary residency. So we caught a flight today from Charlotte, North Carolina, to Cancun, Mexico.
I made it out of the U.S. The burdens that fall off of your shoulders when you leave that place. It's like waking up out of the Matrix. It feels like opening your eyes for the first time. It feels like dreams can actually live outside of your mind. It feels like living in humanity and not in a simulation. This is just my experience. I know there's a lot of people that love it in the US, and I love that so much for you. But not everybody feels that way, and that's also okay. I want to help people find a different place to live that is aligned with who they are as a person. I know a lot of other people are like, come move where I am, you're gonna love it. I don't want to say that, because the worst thing you can do is move somewhere for somebody else and you hate it, and now you've moved yourself and maybe even your whole family somewhere that doesn't align with you, and that's silly.
Well, if you stayed this long, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. And I guess we can all agree that the American dream is actually an American nightmare. And that's why they call it a dream. You know, the irony of my life is that I actually have to go clock into my 12-hour shift. So I will be living the American dream for 12 more hours. But seriously, if anybody felt inspired by this, if anybody is thinking about leaving the States, let me know why in the comments below, or if you're hopeful that things will get better and America will somehow come out on top. Let me know in the comments below. If you're already living out of the States and you love it, let me know in the comments below. If you're living out of the States and you miss it, let me know in the comments below, and let me know what countries to start looking into, because my heart and my spirit is telling me to go. I don't want to leave, but I gotta go right now. I won't be back. But all right, y'all. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a comment below. Share this if you felt inspired, or if you know somebody that's thinking about leaving, but they're kind of scared. There's a lot of success stories in here. So definitely share it, comment, like, and subscribe. I'm a new channel. So nice to meet you. I'm Asha. Hi. All right, later.